Peace and blessings, as we always say in Zola. And
Yes.
thank you for the invitation to sit on the couch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I receive the peace and blessings always. Well, I want to talk about the beginnings of Zola Project. I just was sharing with you, I've heard nothing but great things about what you all are doing. Tell us a bit about what the Zola Project is and how it got started.
Okay. Well, the Zola Experience is a 7-session wellness experience. And really, how it got started was just years and years and years of working with people as a therapist, a family therapist, and a nurse. And so my specialty has been in behavioral health since I got out of college, and just really trying to understand how people go through and heal from trauma, heal from loss, recognizing that we all experience loss every day, but we oftentimes don't lend voice to that loss. And the population that I was working with, when they stopped drinking or stopped using, or they got their schizophrenia under some control, people didn't want to hear their story. People didn't want to talk about it. So they oftentimes relapse was oftentimes a real issue for them. So how the Zola experience got started really was out of my own experience of loss. And when we talk about loss in Zola, we talk about your lost love object. And your lost love object can be anything that has created a shift in how you see yourself or experience yourself. And it can be a positive change. For example, having your first baby, or getting married, or graduating from high school to going to college. But that's a shift in your life. And we have to really kind of figure out how am I going to navigate that? We know that especially like young people today, they're talking a lot about their sense of isolation, even though they're going to college, having difficulty in managing that transition. A Zola Experience wellness circle would serve them well, coming out of high school as well as in college, dealing with adjustments. So when I moved from Nashville to Seattle, actually, I was 7 years old. My world was Nashville. My world was Black Nashville. So my dad had gotten his first job out of college. He had just graduated in engineering from the University of Denver, and we moved to Seattle so that he could work at Boeing, right? So it was an adjustment for us. We first moved, thank God, to King Street, and we lived in an apartment. That was an adjustment. But then we moved to Burien, and I was going to this school, and I had what I call my Toby experience.
Oh, wow.
When I got there, and my mother was registering us, and the lady says, well, what is your name? And I say Katurah, and she said, well, that's a hard name to remember, so I'm going to call you Katie.
Wow.
And so they started writing Katie on all of my transcripts, right? So it's those kind of experiences that we don't lend voice to, and recognizing that even though we shelve it, we file it somewhere back deep in our brain, in our psyche, but that emotional thing is still so very, very real. And so the Zola Experience, I first started doing it in 2012, and I was just focusing on people who had experienced a loss of a person. And we worked with this funeral home in New Haven for about 5 years. And then I had my own losses and transitions and things like that. And then in 2020, Spirit woke me up, and I'm sure y'all understand that. Spirit woke me up at about 5 o'clock in the morning and said, it's time for you to do Zola. And this time you have to do it differently. You need to give it to the world. And so I wrote a book.
Wow.
And my goal is to train individuals from all walks of life to be able to facilitate the Zola groups. And so that's what we're doing. And Seattle has really embraced the Zola experience. And as you say, we're seeing shifts, because we can't come together to make change in our community if we don't trust each other. So we have trust issues just from that enslavement experience. So we have to begin to talk about our shared experiences and find the strength in our community. We got to change our language. We're a community that is resilient. We're a community that is intelligent and smart and creative and all of those things. But we have to continue to speak that language, and we have to filter out all of that other things, of the things that we are not. We are magnificent. And I'm telling you, once we embrace our magnificence, it's on.
Right. You know what? I agree 1,000%. And even for me, this is a whole movement here. This says how we move dot dot dot. The back says the covenant, and it's literally when you're talking about how we have to move, that's exactly what this community covenant is. We need community covenants again to really raise our consciousness collectively, so that we are changing our language, so that we are together protecting our communities and our elders and our young folks, those who are sometimes furthest away from services they need. We need to figure out ways to really bring back this level of morality in our communities that seems to have been lost. When we think about the ways that gun violence has been in our communities, and I have heard from people, facilitators who have gone through the Zola experience and said it really forever changed them, because now not only are they able to facilitate these groups, but they too understand their own connection to how they can heal themselves. And it's so important that you brought this out. Thank you. Here's the book right here. I got my own signed copy, y'all, the Zola Experience. But I want to say that this is so important when we think about the energy and the positivity of healing circles, and the need for us to build that trust, as you said. Tell us a bit about, since you guys have, I keep saying you guys, and I don't want to do that. So since you all have done this, tell us a bit about how it's really been transformative for you with this kind of new iteration that you brought out in 2020.
Well, it's transformed me. Every time I facilitate a circle, it transforms me. And this is the response that we get from facilitators, because you're also doing your work, because you have more than one loss in your life. You have losses every day. Whatever happened to you yesterday is yesterday. That's your past. You're not going to be able to change it, but you can change how you choose to react to it moving forward. And that's really what we're doing. So for me, this is a global movement. I know that when the brother Ishmael talked about your passion, I got it. I understand it, because this is my passion. I truly believe this is my divine work, and that, the creator didn't tell me that it was going to be an easy path. He just said, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so this is my divine work. This is my passion. I want Zola circles throughout the globe. There is not a human being on this earth that has not experienced loss and trying to process grief. So Zola really helps you to process grief. We say it's a tool for change and healing, fueled by the power of love. And when you think about love being the highest vibration that one can exist under, that can move through, right? If how we move has got to be through an energy of love, because love is the thing that is going to keep us together, coalesce us, so that we can continue to move forward. So that is really the essence of what I've been talking about. And we have been blessed. We have Zola Thailand, we have Zola Philippines, we have Zola South Africa, we have Zola Connecticut, Seattle. We have Zola in Fayetteville. We're moving, and we want to invite any and every community, and it crosses all socioeconomic, racial barriers. You can design your Zola circle to focus on anything that is of importance to you: racial healing, um, uh, your physical health. You can have a Zola for those that are experienced loaded COVID. You can have a Zola experience for women or men who have experienced breast cancer, amputations, whatever it is. You just got a new diagnosis. They're telling me my child has ADHD. You can have a Zola experience circle cohort to come together, and you talk about it, and you go through the 7 sessions, and you end up as family as community. And it touches my heart. We just had a reunion celebration last Saturday at this fabulous Wow Gallery that you have
Yeah.
in Seattle. I was in tears when I
Yeah.
was listening to people's, testimony as to how this experience has moved them and shifted them and allowed them to get on with their life.
Oh my goodness. Well, shout out to my sister Veronica Berry in Hiawatha D, my brother.
Yes.
Love them over there at Wow. But when you talk about moving with love as an amazing foundation, in Western culture, we have this warped identity around love, right? And
Mm,
and I really appreciate you saying that, because it really is the highest vibration, it's the highest energy you can give to
mhm.
anyone. It's also giving, seeking nothing in return.
That's
And
right.
I think a lot of people need to remember that, or need to learn that, and
Mhm,
begin to apply that in their lives when they're thinking about how they love people, and how they utilize the
mhm,
term love. Like,
mhm,
am I really, is it really that? Am I expecting something from, this person when I do XYZ? I think people have to do that, because when you really give, seeking nothing in return, you really reap the benefit
mhm,
of that energy exchange,
mhm,
right? And it's so much greater than any materialistic
mhm.
idea of what love is. And so I appreciate you bringing your experience as a therapist to form the foundation for these circles, so that people can adapt them as needed, which
Yes.
is so necessary. And
Mhm.
I agree with you in terms of how important it is that this is everywhere, right?
Yes.
That's exactly how I feel about the covenant. I'm wearing it because this is like, for me, we need this everywhere. We need to elevate our communities with a collective foundation of a set of principles. So I love how you said that people
Mhm.
participate in the circles and in the experience, the Zola experience, and walk away as family. And
Yes.
that you got to really hear some impactful testimonies, at this amazing celebration, that moved you as such. I mean, when you think about your legacy, Miss Bryant, this right here definitely is divine purpose. How do you want this to continue on when you think about your legacy and
Mhm,
your gift that you're
mhm,
giving to the world
mhm.
right now?
Well, I see it as part of my family legacy. Everybody in the family is involved in the Zola experience as trainers, navigators. My grandchildren will greet you with peace and blessings. They know that Mima loves butterflies, and there's a real story behind the butterfly, and me coming to understand like what is going to be my logo. And so when I saw the picture of the black and white butterfly in hands, and then when you think about, we need support. The hands are support, but they're open, right? And your fingers represent different areas of your life where you need support, right? So you need the covenant. You need a structure in your community, right? You need people, you need healthy food, you need health access, you need all of those things, right? So when you can have your hands, your fingers and your hands and your tool chest of survival and to be able to thrive. So then you got to test your wings. And so the butterfly goes, it flits, but the hands are always there for it to come back,
Mm.
to rest, to rejuvenate, to restore. And so that's really how I think of the legacy of Zola. That I had my children gifted me with a portrait because I said and I will say this, y'all, on my 70th birthday,
Ooh,
that
wait.
I wanted a portrait because my vision is that I want this portrait to be in the Zola Foundation boardroom,
Mm.
right? Just as a visual imagery, in addition to the work that we are going to be doing for forever. Forever. We are a 501c3 organization now under the umbrella of Global Alchemy Group. And so we can begin to do things and utilize some of our tax paying dollars.
Mhm.
I want people to understand we don't think it's free. We
Yeah.
know that it's our tax-paying dollars that support these kind of organizations, as well as generous donations from family and friends and communities, so that we can begin to do the work, offer scholarships, be able to have Zola circles in high schools, in colleges, in communities, so that we can offer them incentives. Africa Town has done it right.
Mm.
They have done it right. And I am so proud of King and that crew,
Yeah.
to be able to offer that. We've recently received a child grief grant in Connecticut that we're going to be working with children and families. And we're going to focus on foster families and foster children because, where is their voice? We're trying to give voice to all of that, and which makes our project very, very unique.
Yeah.
So to lend voice, that is my whole thing, because knowing as a therapist, my whole job is really to get you to speak your truth. And once you speak your truth, then you can figure out, how do you want to heal from whatever your truth is, or how do you want to go forward from whatever your truth is? And so that is really what we're doing.
Wow.
That's what we're doing. And God willing, that we will continue to do so for millennia to come.
Well, I can't believe you said 70th birthday. I'm telling y'all, I'm looking directly at Miss Katurah and I'm like, come on, honey. That is beautiful. Number one, I have to tell you. But what you just shared here about the legacy, this being family, this being rooted in family, is so key to how you set the tone and the foundation for the communities you're connecting with, organizations like Africa Town. Shout out to everyone there. They know I'm always an ambassador of the work they do because I know where it's coming from and I understand the vision, and it's necessary. And, you guys, you've been holding circles here, creating facilitators here. I got to give you time to make sure you look into that camera before I let you go today and tell people how they can connect with the Zola experience. If there's somebody out there that's like, I need to be a facilitator, I need to go through these 7 courses myself, I need to understand how I need to heal, and maybe I can help others in my family, my community heal. I want you to look right there and let them know, how do they connect to the Zola experience?
Please connect with us at www.thezolaexperience.org. Just go to our website and you will see that there's avenues. One, for you to be able to participate in a Zola Circle. Also, you can contact any of us, and we have lists of people that are Zola facilitators in your area. And if there's not, then we hold virtual Zola Experience 7-session wellness groups. You have to go through the initial 7-session wellness groups first, because you got to work on yourself first. You got to understand that what are some of your stuff that's there, so you can begin that process. And then if you think that this is something that you really want to do, then you can become a Zola ambassador. And we will support you and help you to do that. Also on that website, you want to support us, you can donate to the Zola Experience Inc. as the nonprofit, and you can write that off on your taxes, to be able to help other people. Because I am a firm believer that talent comes in all shapes, forms, and exposure. So you do not have to be a trained therapist like me. You can be an outreach worker. You can be somebody that is the president of your women's group at your faith-based organization. If you have a desire to support and help other human beings, then please contact us at thezolaexperience.org.
Wow. Miss Bryant, thank you so much for being with me today. I am truly honored to be able to sit with you and share a bit of your story. Thank you so much for the book and the bookmarks. I am going to cherish this and make sure I read every page. I just appreciate you living in your divine purpose and really sharing your gift with the rest of us in the world. Thank you. We'll forever be connected.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. I'm honored to be at your table.
Oh my goodness. What a